awkward about that. All right. Okay, tell me again where you went to the club, which club you attended,
Okay.
and then what you're up to now.
Okay, well, my mom started working at Southside Boys and Girls Club when I was like maybe 3 or 4. So I had been going to the club already prior to. So I started at Southside Boys and Girls Club. It was a boys club when I started, but then it changed over to a Boys and Girls Club. And I was the first official member when they started age 5 and up. So I got the old ID card. It's like #1 pal or whatever. And then once I turned 16, that's when they opened Hickory Hill. They closed Southside, so I ended up going to Hickory Hill and continuing my boys club life there.
All right.
And that's when I met Mr. Vincent and a couple other people. And prior to that, it was all about Ivory Boykins, Red, Paula Godden, that's what y'all call him, Mr. Donald, people like that. He really stepped in to take over and showed me how to own my ability as a man and do what you're supposed to do so that you can obtain more in life and not be basic.
So, what were you telling the kids in Power Hour? First of all, what was your impression of the members that were in the Power Hour group?
When I went to Hickory Hill, I think it was last Friday, their first impression, my impression of them was that they were afraid, that they judged me before I even talked, because I went in with my uniform on, my military uniform. They was like, hey, here you go, this guy coming in about to talk to us about some nonsense, and he's not where we from, so he probably just gonna tell us about life and all this bullcrap that you want to hear. And then I opened my mouth. When I told them where I was from and everything, I told them I was from South Memphis. I asked them questions as if, before I even started speaking, I asked, has anybody in here ever committed a crime before? Then I asked, has anybody in here had a friend that committed suicide? Has anybody in here ever committed a violent gang due to crime? Has anybody ever been shot before, been shot at before? And with every question, it was a 50% hand raising with Hickory Hill. But when I went to Porter, it was 90 and 95% to every question. Friends that committed suicide, street violence, and the fact that I asked how many people have lived in 2-parent homes, and it was about maybe 85%. No. For 2-parent homes, it was like 1%. One kid raised his hand for both clubs. And then when I asked about single mother homes, it was probably about 99%. Truthfully, 99%, no gimmick. And I was like, okay. And they was like, oh, where you from? I go, South Memphis. Where do you live now? I was like, Japan, maybe 45 minutes from Tokyo. They dropped it. They was like, wow. They was like, well, how you do it? I was like, I kept trying. I was like, because the Boys Club taught us to try no matter what. And when you try, you have the ability to conquer. Because everybody used the excuse, oh, I didn't know this or I didn't know that. But how the people who say they didn't know never tried? And with the Boys Club, they teach you that through sports, through continuous programs. When I was brought up to talk, we had an abstinence program with the Boys Club. So we had the Torch Club, we had the Keystone. So many programs to reiterate the fact that as long as you're trying to continue to do something, you're going to prosper. Because nobody can prosper more than the guy who is trying to accomplish more. And with that, I remember coming to the Boys and Girls Club Porter every day after 7 o'clock when Southside closed early so they can clean on certain days. We would go to Porter, and Antonio Harris, Chris Young, and Griff, me and my 3 cousins, they beat us up every day. And they would take our shoes and throw them on top of the drink machine, and they would say, stop crying like a little girl. Be a man, stop crying. How you doing? And I would be like, man, I'd be crying like a little girl. And they would say, get some bass in your voice. It's like, because at the end of the day, the only person who's going to make sure that you survive is you. And I was maybe 5 to 10, got almost every day for like 5 years. And at this time, Antonio was not even a staff member yet. He was just somebody who went up to the club, did his little volunteer hours for college. And now he's the director of a club. But then again, I go to Southside, and you had Ivory Boykins and Chris Young, who made sure that I addressed my situations before they came about. So they taught me how to plan ahead, I dressed like this. I learned how to tie a bow tie when I was like 11. A man came to the Boys Club. He taught us how to tie bow ties, how to tie regular ties, how to make sure that your watch match your belt and your belt match your shoes, like job interviews, resumes. And I took all that and I prospered tremendously. Had my first job when I was 14, works since then. By my first car when I was in 11th grade. And all that with the support of my mom, it just built stacks on top of stacks. But people don't see that. At the end, all they see is the results. And when I talk to the kids, I told them that it's okay to be different. It's okay to be lonely, because sometimes being lonely is what puts you above everybody else. Because when you're average, you only accept average things. You only see average life. And then you can't prosper. And at the Boys and Girls School, they put you in an environment where people who they hire are supposed to teach you how to accept who you are, make changes, and then go for more. And people get so content. And my whole goal, each segment I have with the kids, I always say, who in here want to be rich? Everybody raised their hand. I was like, so who in here want to be rich, being in the NBA or NFL? You know, you got everybody want to be in the NBA. I said, okay. So today, who is actually doing everything they need to do to make sure they can become rich in the NBA? Maybe it's 2 people raise their hand. I said, what happened to all the hands? And they go, oh no. Then she say, okay, now, everybody who's doing what they're supposed to do, stand up. They stand up. I say, what are you doing? Are you getting up early in the morning? No. Are you staying out of school late? No. Are you going to run in the morning so that you can be the fastest person on the court? No. Then it's always one who says yes. And everybody's looking at him like, man, I wish I was like him. So then I say, everybody stand up. I was like, and everybody stand up. I said, so why isn't everybody stand up like him? If you all saying you want to be rich, you want to play in the NBA, because it's over 1 million people and do the same thing. So therefore, if you're trying to outdo them, you have to be lonely. So you have to get up in the morning and by yourself and go running. You have to stay after school late and make sure that your homework is done, so that your teachers are calling your coaches so you can play in the game. Because that one game you missed could have been the one game that you got scouted on to make it to college. I said all these small things play a key role in your survival in this world. I said college is not a priority. I said, but it's important for you to sustain in this world. I said, because you can be successful without going to college. You can achieve a lot without going to college. But you don't have the work ethic and the mentality to support those goals, they won't happen. And that's what the Boys Club taught me. Because the mission statement says that we have to have great character. We want you to build great character, great partnership. The Boys Club taught me how to network, how to talk to people, how to speak when I need to speak, how to be quiet, to be quiet. And they also taught me how to be observant. I was in like the 9th grade, and it was a big fight. It was always fights in the neighborhood, but the Boys and Girls Club contained that. And some kids came to the Boys and Girls Club looking for somebody with an AK-47. Came through the door. I remember Mr. Ivy Borkins walked through the door. He's like, get out of my club. And the kid said, Mr. Borkins, the only reason I'm not going to kill him in this Boys and Girls Club because you saved him. And maybe 10 minutes later, another group of kids came looking for the same guy. All of them had guns. Mr. Borkins walked through the door. He grabbed a kid by his neck. He said, it's over 100 lives in here that's under me, and you're not going to take one of them. And I'm sitting there on the bench. I was in trouble. And it was meant for me to be on that bench today to witness that, because I was in trouble. I think I took a pool stick out the game room when I wasn't supposed to or something. My mom put me in timeout because she's working at the front desk. And I was like, wow. That's how you know that it's this one man standing up for over 500 kids. And none of the other kids knew what was going on because they all were active play. So he stopped the fear of everybody even seeing the weapon come in the building. But it was just meant for me to be there to witness that, because that one moment showed me that all it takes is one man to stand up and everything can change. And I just kept going after that, kept going. I would come after school and they had like they do it now, power hour, where you come in after school, hour and a half, you have to go straight into homework. And while you're doing your homework, you don't understand, you had the other junior staff or next somebody come in and help you with your homework to make sure that you were good to go. And if you didn't understand, okay, the next day we're going to give you lessons to help you do this. And I took that and I ran. Then you have the athletic portion of Boys and Girls School. You can play every sport. Excuse me. No matter your qualifications, you're just going to play a sport. I don't care if you're going to play soccer, you're going to play hockey in the gym, you're going to play basketball, you're going to play baseball. So I took that and I went to school. I ran track, went to state twice in middle school. I ended up running track in 9th grade year. I wanted to play basketball so much and run track that my 10th and 11th grade year, I went to Memphis Health Careers Academy because I wanted to go to college major in sports science because I wanted to be a physical therapist or optometrist. But the school is focused on health, so it'll help me learn things in both worlds. So when I did that, I would have to go to school from 6 o'clock in the morning till 4:40. I'm in high school at the time. But every day after school, I would walk 30 minutes to Hamilton just to continue being athletic. Because I learned at the Boys Club that you want something, you have to commit to it. And nobody's going to commit to it for you. So I would do that, and then I would come back to the Boys Club and work. But they work with my schedule because when they see you're trying to be persistent in life, they continuously made sure that you had support. Because that support system shows that if one person shows you that they care, then you're going to make sure that you help that person to continue to care. Because half of the time, a lot of people that you're with don't care about you, or they don't show it. So when you have the one piece of support, you always want to make sure that the support is there by continuing to do better. Because you don't want to lose that support. Once you get it, you don't want to lose it. And I remember maybe a couple weeks ago, I was on the phone. I called Antonio from Japan because I was going through things back in my job. And I was talking to him on the phone about an hour, and he said that some boys had gotten in trouble at the club, and the staff had put him out because they would continue to cause him problems. The next day, Antonio let him back in the club. They were supposed to be out a whole week because of the policy, but Antonio said, I let him back in the club because he has a better chance of surviving in this club than he will out there on the streets. And he has more potential while he's inside this building than he will out in the streets. Because inside this building, I know he's going to be in the gym. He may be running around doing bad things in the building, but I'd rather him do bad things in this building than go out in the streets and get shot for doing the same things that he was doing in the building. Or get forced into a gang, or get forced to smoke weed, or everything against his will. Because now, kids don't know how to accept challenges and say no. It's to a point now where when I spoke at the Boys and Girls Club last week, kids would challenge the authority figures that they already have, but when I spoke, they would be quiet and listen. And when I went up there yesterday, and the kids like, hey, Mr. Davonte. I'm like, man, I'm not a Mr. I'm only 21. They was like, we respect you. And every child that walked past me was like, hey, how you doing? When you gonna come back? What's your Facebook? What's your number? I was like, wow. Because it took a toll on me because I felt like I just met some of these kids last week, and they already trying to stay connected. And this is how the Boys Club is supposed to be. This is what the boys, to this day, I still talk to Mr. Boykins. I still talk to Antonio. I still talk to Miss Shirley Collins, the lady disciplined me so much. She was like, I'm never going to take my foot off your neck because the moment I take my foot off your neck, you're going to run wild. And she told my mom that. And that stuck with me. And it's simple things like that that make you want to continuously try, because when these people see you in the future, they're like, wow, I did that. And now I take ownership of those characteristics that I was taught, and those qualities and that mentality that have been stumped into my head, and I continuously push, because it's to the point now where I'm in the military and I stand out when I'm not even trying, because they've instilled in me leadership that should not go unnoticed, even if you're not trying to put it out there. And I'm proud of that. I take that and I'm like, wow. You never know why God put people in your life, even when they're yelling at you. Even they tell you to sit down, go sit in time out, be quiet. Who you think you're talking to? Because now kids will talk to an adult and be cussing. Back then I cussed, yeah, I would say my thing, but when an adult came, I was like, yes ma'am, no ma'am. Now they keep going. It's a whole different breed. That's why when I talk to them, I always ask questions, because when you ask questions, they keep them. You gotta keep them intrigued in what you're saying. So you make them want to raise their hand. If somebody if somebody doing something, you make them stand up. Say, why are you doing that? So I asked them, who in here is a leader? Everybody raised their hand. I said, okay, stand up. And he stands up. I said, what makes you a leader? He was like, man, I do what I'm supposed to do. Examples. What are you doing that makes you? So I said, okay, do you have people following you? He was like, yeah. I was like, so you got people listen to your every word? He was like, nah. I said, so what make you a leader? He was like, I lead you by example. Give me an example. He's like, man, I go to class, I do my work. I said, okay, you good. I said, just stand there. Call the other kid. What makes you a leader? I don't know. I said, are you a follower? No. I said, so do you have people that follow you? Ask them the same questions. No. Do you do your work in school? Not like I supposed to. I said, so you're not a leader until you're leading by example. I said, see, a lot of y'all get things confused. I said, see, you're a follower. I said, but you're supposed to be a follower long enough so you can learn how to be a leader. I said it's not something you're supposed to continuously do. I said because there's always people that's going to follow you, but you have to learn how to follow and accept all the positives and negatives out of following that person and turn it into a great thing and be a bigger person and know that, okay, this is what I've learned, the good and the bad, and I'm going to separate it and turn it into great qualities to show other people what's supposed to be done correctly. And because that's how I was raised at the Boys and Girls Club. I was taught to do what I'm supposed to do, look at everybody who's doing things wrongs, to correct my wrongs, and then become a better person. And that's consistently trying to do better, because that's what the Boys and Girls Club is all about. So when I graduated from high school, I had a box. I was taught at this conference with the Boys and Girls Club to always, when you meet people, talk to them. When you talk to them, you network, you get their cards. So when I graduated from high school, I still had this box, and I just came back home. I've been gone 2.5 years for the military. I came back home. I was cleaning up my room, and I found the box. I had over 50 business cards. 50 business cards. And, you know, I have friends who are here now who need jobs and are struggling. And I was so upset last week because I was like, Mom, I went back to my neighborhood, and I didn't want to talk to nobody because I couldn't trust them. And she said, "Why?" I was like, "This is not how we was raised at the Boys and Girls Club." I was like, "They still young, so they still have time to turn around. So they still have potential." She's like, "What you gonna do?" I was like, "Oh no." And I was so mad. I was crying. I was like, "Cause I expected to come back home and go to my friend. Hey, let's go out. Let's go have drinks. Let's go do this." But they gave up on themselves. They just decided to stick to the small status quo, and that's because when the Southside Boys and Girls Club closed, it took soul of goodness out of our neighborhood. So when the Boys Clubs out there, they have a place where kids can go and understand real meanings of life. And I think sometimes a lot of people forget that they're there to enforce kids to try and achieve more. And that's your job as a Boys and Girls Club member. Even the sponsors, when we used to get Nike stuff, we got Grizzly game tickets, stuff like that. You get exposed to stuff you won't get exposed to in the quote unquote hood. Mm-hmm. Because in the hood, I mean, I've seen people get shot, robbed, beat up. Like, I mean, people think that gang violence is real, and they think this whole teen thing that's going around is real. But when I was growing up, it was a whole different breed. In high school, we couldn't sit at the same table as other gang members. None of that was allowed. Now they can. And I was explaining to them that y'all have it easier now than we did, because now everybody mingles, everybody mixes and matches. But y'all trying to argue over simple things. Y'all taking each other's life over simple things. But I said, 5 years ago, the things that y'all arguing with me about now, it will be done. See, the difference between me and them is that, well, where I came from and them is that we would go to school. The majority would go to school, do what they're supposed to do in school, go to their sport, do what they're supposed to do in their sport, and then after school, you know, you had your street life. I'm not gonna say like I didn't, because I've done things that I wish I wouldn't have done. But the fact that the Boys Club was there helped me understand that you have to take the best out of it. And that's what I've gained. How to take the best out of the worst and make it great. Great. So what I did by my friends was I took the cards. I called maybe 4 or 5 people that I met through the Boys and Girls Club. Youth of the Year meetings, going to conferences. I went to the University of Memphis for 2 weeks when I was in the 10th grade as a student with a friend, man referred me from the Boys and Girls Club. Excuse me, and he sent me to the program. It's called Math Academy. Did that for 2 weeks. Came out. I was in the 10th and 11th grade. I was in the top 10% of my class. Decided to go to Central. Graduated in the top 40%, but Central was a whole nother ball game because I was late in the game, and I was behind when I got to Central in the 12th grade because I had to have surgery before I got there. And the whole time when I was going to Hickory, Mr. Benson kept saying, he's like, "Don't worry about it. Just stay focused. Everything will work out." He was like, "Come on, put in for Youth of the Year. Put in for Youth of the Year." I won. Went to state, came top 3. But the lady told me I didn't win because she told me that I was already successful. She told me, she said, "You know why you didn't win this year? It's because we already see that you don't need these scholarships to be successful." That's what she told me word for word. And I was like, I was so angry. I was like, so you telling me I didn't win because you see something in me that I don't have right now? She said, yes. She said, the reason why you didn't win is because we know that you have it already. And to hear that from this woman who don't even know me, who did an interview with me for 10 minutes, changed my whole perspective. Because I already had a strong support system with the Boys and Girls Club at home in Memphis. And to go and hear that from a complete stranger shows me that I was taught properly. And I understood things the correct way. And I spoke well. Before I did Youth of the Year, Mr. Vincent would make me stand in the mirror and pronounce words. He would make me stand in the mirror and read my essays, or stand in the mirror and read my speeches out loud. And that trained me to consistently prepare. And he asked me a million questions. He gave me books of quotes. Mr. Boykins would make me come in his office and say, stand right there, ask me questions and make me give responses, da-da-this, da-da-this, da-da-that. And that put me, came out one of the top debaters in my college. Just because of that, because of the consistent preparation. Now applying to Naval Academy, it's a rigorous program, it's a rigorous application process. And it's the same process to applying for Youth of the Year. So now all I had to do was take all my documentation I used for Youth of the Year, which was in 2010, 2011, and transfer it and just upgrade it to now. And it's continuous preparation, because if I would never tried out for Youth of the Year, I would never been ready for now. And it's a whole 2, 3, 4 years later. And it's because I kept trying. And that's my whole message. When you're a part of the Boys and Girls Club, the goal is consistently enforce trying to do more. Because that shows growth. Because you can fail and know, okay, this is not for me. But if you never try it, you're going to be one of those people that's saying, man, I should have did this, I'm finna do it. But the Boys and Girls Club tries to set you up so that you can say, I did this. This is why it doesn't work, and this is how you should continue with going on with the situation. And I love that. I love that. That's why when I came back, I went to the club. The first thing I did, I was here. I've been home since the 9th. My second week here, I went to Hickory Hill. Talked to Mr. Vincent, stayed up there maybe 3 hours talking to kids. But they didn't know who I was. Only the old people knew who I was. So I was like, he's like, oh, what you gotta do? I was like, well, I'm gonna come back next week and I'm gonna talk. He's like, you sure? I was like, yeah. I was like, they need it. I was like, because I don't think they understand. I was like, and they may not understand it from you. I said, because Mr. Vincent, you didn't come directly from where we are. But I said, but I feel them. I was like, I understand what it is. I said, so I'm going to come back and put it to them like it is. So I talked to them about sex, attitudes. I told them that your attitude can be the difference between you getting a D in school and an F in school. Life, goals, and how to consistently achieve more. And it came out yesterday. A kid stayed after, and he talked to me for maybe an hour and a half. And he was crying and telling me about his life. And it shocked me, because as soon as he left me and him finished talking, 4 more came in. Who consistently asking questions. You never expect that your small 30-minute speech or an hour speech can change somebody's life. That's why we encourage people to continuously put more into the Boys and Girls Clubs, because if you don't enforce knowledge into some communities, then they're going to go up to other communities trying to take what's not theirs. And that's when the cycle keeps going. The cycle should stop. And if you have an opportunity to stop this cycle, you should intervene.
So what were these kids asking you about?
They asked me about life. And a lot of guys asked about women. Asked me, what did I do to understand what's next for me? And I said, I stopped complaining. And I started using other people's mistakes as my own. To learn from somebody else's mistake is not being a flaw, it's not being something that you're not. It's learning how to use other people's issues and concerns to better yourself, because you can learn from everybody. You have many mentors by just observation. Everybody's a mentor. Everybody. Even if you don't call them your mentor, somebody can be cussing you. Okay, I know I don't need to cuss in front of this person, or somebody can be talking smart. Okay, I know I shouldn't be talking smart, because you never know who you're gonna need And when you don't know that, you don't know how to approach people. So that's why you treat everybody the same. Because when you talk to everybody the same and you be kind, then you get that mentorship you never thought you would get unknowingly. And that can be that one thing that you saw 5 years ago that helps you translate what you're trying to do now.
So why would you tell sponsors and people in the community that they need to support Boys and Girls Club?
Boys and Girls Club breeds change. Change in mentalities, change in awareness, change in physical ability, change emotionally. Because those things are the key to raising and teaching kids the proper way to do things. And when somebody learns the proper way to do things, then they're less likely to become a criminal. See, it's not about taking things away, it's about decreasing the risk. And you decrease risk by promoting higher education. So when you support things like that, you increase the child's education on how to do things the proper way. When you know how to do things the proper way, you're more successful. So.
And what would you tell kids now that you're living in Japan? So kids that want to go on to do something, what do they need to do?
Don't be afraid. Be different. Accept you. Accept life and conquer. Because nobody's going to try as hard as you are for yourself. Because at the end of the day, you are the master of your own fate.